peace and love, peace and love. Islam, Islam. Can we all rise for the North American prayer? Space to east. Feet at a 45-degree angle. 2 on the right, 5 on the left. Repeat after me. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam, boys. We're going to have a reading of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. I'm going to go through all the acts, 1 through 7, and then I will follow up with the additional bylaws, which I will only read acts from 1 through 5. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Board Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Board Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Board Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Lord Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in the flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and descended unto his Father, God of Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Lord Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being Moorish American, you are a part impartial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Science of the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues, keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful husband, You must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. The divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. We will have the reading of the additional laws, which one can find on the back of their 101 questionnaire. Questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand Sheiks and governors and heads of all temples, all business. Each said temple must be approved by Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Body. Act 2. All members are to attend their meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, they will be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. If he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to a Moorish uplifting fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch him. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power to invest in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school. And the teacher must conform himself to the questionnaire and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out of your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Islam. I will turn over the podium to the Grand Sheik, Elijah MESPHIN. Islam.
Islam, boys. Islam. On behalf of the officials and members of Temple Number 2 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, we greet you with divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Welcome to Temple Number 2's celebration and reflection of the life, works, and deeds of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I first would like to rise and submit my perfect praises to Allah, the author, the creator, governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. I would like to give high honors to a noble soul born on this day in the state of North Carolina, in the year of 1886. Allah's love thought manifested in flesh, who came to demonstrate the possibilities of man amongst the Asiatics of America, who brought the Asiatic nation of of North America back into the families of nations, restoring the historical and lawful national identity to the people labeled Negro, Black, and Colored, and who taught us the creed and the high civilization science of our ancestors. Beginning with the ancient maxim, man know thyself. Once you know yourself, you will know that Allah and spirit man are one. And that illustrious soul we honor, who gave us this information and his life, so that our posterity would know who they are and who their ancestors were. As a consequence, living a better quality of life is our holy prophet, noble Jew Ali. I give honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey, purity made flesh, wafted stated one God, one aim, and one destiny, purity of thought. I give honors to our current Supreme Grand Sheikh, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Supreme Grand Sheikh with a D. Bailey L. I give honors to the first Supreme Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Supreme Grand Sheikh E. Millie L. I give honors to the Grand Body and the Supreme Grand Council. I give honors to the Circle 7. And I give honors to everyone who came out today. Salam to the officials just walked in from Baltimore. Salam. Started a little bit late, but praise Allah, all is well. The first hour of our program, we're going to be serving meals. My wife is actually on her way, so what time it is? What time? What time? Okay. She should be here probably for the next 10 minutes. She has a little bit more of the food. Once that, as soon as she gets here, we'll eat, and we'll say around 5:30. Around 5:30, we'll begin demonstrations and giving thanks to Allah, our prophet, demonstrating what the prophet has done for us. So please enjoy the food. We have some drinks back there until she gets here. And praise Allah. Miss Margaret? Miss Margaret?
Yes, please. Mine was there.
How are you? Nice to meet you. Alessia, nice to know. Nice to meet you. Islam.
Smells good.
Huh?
Smells really good.
Thank you. I'm on the service. Sorry wasn't delayed. Huh? Can you sit over there? Y'all just got here? Oh, welcome, welcome. So you're getting started now. You want to hang your jacket up right here? On the coat? Okay. What is coffee? I don't want to come here.
No, well, he had the tea. Oh, that's all right.
Oh, you had something
Oh,
else?
it's all right. I had the tea, but I'll take this.
Oh, you had two? Oh, okay, my bad.
Testing, 1, 2. Islam, everyone. Islam, family. Islam. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. I just want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. This is a glorious day to celebrate our prophet who was chosen amongst us and who chose to take on that initiative to give us the message that we need to hear of who we are and that we serve a mighty God, which is Allah, and that we are closer to Him than anything. The only thing that separated us was only our choices that we have made. Praise Allah. First I want to do is rise and give high praise and glory to Father God, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Creator, the Sustainer, the rootless root, causeless cause. I want to give high honors to His chosen noble prophet, noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to Marcus Hosea Garber, who was a forerunner for the prophet, just as John was a forerunner for Jesus. And I rise and I want to give honor to the Moorish Science Temple of America. I want to rise and give honor to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh, D. Belia. I want to rise and give honor to the first past Supreme Grand Sheikh, Edward Melia. And I rise and I give honor to each and every one of y'all for making it out here in this weather. Thank you very much for coming out. Islam. We pretty much came together to actually try to decide on what type of program we're going to run, but we're pretty much going to do like we do on our Friday holy meetings, and just give time for those that demonstrate, their love and their sincerity and their appreciation for the Prophet Noble Ali and also more Science of America and the movement in general. I was chosen to start, so I think I'm going to open up just to say that probably like a past experience I had dealing with the Prophet Noble Ali. It would be probably the first time I heard about this illustrious prophet. When I first time heard about the Prophet Noble Ali, I was about 15 to 16 years old. I was actually in Georgia. I was believe it in all places, I was at a Christian camp. The first time I heard this name, Prophet Noble Ali, I was sitting at a meeting. See, I wasn't part of just a regular camp. I was part of this type of ministry they had for youth. And it was kind of like an East Coast national thing. And it was big. We did a lot of things, and we got a lot of kids, and, come to church and those type of things. So as a young one, 16, I went, and they always had these leadership conferences for the youth. Leadership conferences, so we could be leaders. Go back and start like Bible club and the schools and all that type of thing. So when I was sitting in this one morning, we woke up early in the morning too. They used to have us up like at the dawn, like 5, maybe 4 o'clock, exercising, praying, doing our prayers and everything. They were serious. For some, it was almost like boot camp. But one of our sessions, they had a guest speaker, and he was part of this ministry they call the Joshua Project. And the Joshua Project, their specific goal was to gather intelligence on urban, or kind of you would say so-called black religions that were in the urban area. So you would have like Hebrew Israelites, those who followed the Wahhabism, or those who are 5%ers, and so on and so on. It kind of went in a reverse historical mode, the way this literature or this content was. And at the back, which would be the beginning, was this name, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I'm flipping through the pages, so I'm seeing Clarence Terry 13X. I'm seeing the Hebrew, I'm seeing Nation of Islam, right? But in the beginning of all that was a prophet. And it sparked. I was like, who is this guy? Where all this, because I'm thinking Nation of Islam, I'm thinking of Malcolm. You know, 13X, I'm thinking of pro-righteous teachers because I grew up in Burlington. And that's only like a few miles away from Trenton. So that's where the pro-righteous teachers is from. Those who remember the song, Rock This Funky Joint by the PRT. Yeah, they kind of like neighbors. They live in Trenton, I'm in Burlington, 20 minutes away. You can catch the train and be there in no time. So I'm thinking these individuals who had an effect on my life and the school of thought that they came from derived from this one school of thought. From this man, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The second time I came across that name again was in college when I did a report for my so-called African American History course, and I was doing the what they call it would be like the Renaissance era. So I was supposed to take my paper. I was supposed to start from the Jubilee experience and go into the Renaissance. And in that Renaissance, we focused on Marcus Mosaic Garden. And then that name showed up again, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So I said, you know what? I want to know more about this individual. So at the time, I went. At the time, I was joining an organization. I pledged when I went to school, and the organization I pledged was Group 5 Group Social Fellowship Corporate. And as a new member, I had to start my own programs. So the first program I threw was Marcus Mosaic Garden, and I had a speaker from the UNI had come to the college and speak on Marcus Mosaic Garden. But guess what was my next program? It was on Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I had a sister, they had, I think it was Temple 27 in Glassboro. Sister Susan Dunbar Bell. 28, I'm sorry, excuse me. Sister Temple 28. Sister came and come to find out she knew my uncle. We were talking after the program, but it was an experience because the Islam that was presented by the temple was different from what was what media had portrayed or projected. If you're talking about Allah, we were at the point where I don't want to hear about a man on a cloud or some spook type of, God or anything like that. No. But they said it was Allah is the consciousness, the all-big consciousness that everyone has, that everyone's connected to. When I got into that, I was like, okay, this is something. This is something. So, long story short, I'm here because of those seeds, those planted, because of that man. Now, I don't know how far some people's understanding of certain spirituality is, but I do believe that sometimes some people, as great as the station that they may be, has the ability to put out signs and put out some calls on people to say, hey, look at this. Put something in your mind and your heart that draws you and attached to something. Because there's no reason why throughout the course when I was 16, for the first time I heard this man's call, to the time I was about 23, 24, transitioning out of college, I still hear this man's name. Some people hear a man's name once and never hear it again. Ever in their life. But to continually hear this person, there's something divine about this movement. There's something divine about what we represent. There's something divine about profitable lives. I want to start, as I did explain about the prophet. Ask yourself something. As we celebrate his birthday, and we give homage to him, we're not worshiping him, are we? We're not worshiping the prophet. But the prophet told us to worship who? Allah. And that was the main focus. Sometimes a lot of people think, because we put this emphasis on the prophet, that it becomes idol worship. These type of things. But we recognize the thought of Allah in the flesh. Which Allah was Prophet Ali is a mirror, a reflection of our higher self. Because see, one thing about man is he forgets himself. Plenty of times you're going through these days, going through these trials, back and forth through life, you forget yourself. And what happens? You need a reminder. And at that time, the divine intervention comes to remind you who you are. And that's what Prophet Ali is. He is the reminder of us, because he brought all the teachings of our ancient forefathers. He brought all the teachings and linked us back to Allah. So, the first thing he tells you, to shatter all that, those who say, worship Prophet Muhammad is. What does he say in the open, inside the first page of the fold, or the cover of the Mosul Quran? He says, man, know thyself, and thy Father God alone. He points you right into the direction of where to worship. He points you in the direction of where to focus. Know thyself, and thy Father God alone. Focus on yourself. And he didn't say he's talking about focus on yourself physical. He's talking about your true self. It's a code. Know thyself, and thy Father God alone. Because thyself, your true self, as it says in the teachings, is part of Allah. So when you truly study your true self, connecting yourself to Allah. Now, why was this profound teaching? Because at the time, many of us, or our ancestors, or grandparents, great-grandparents, or great-great-grandparents, were transitioning from a time of so-called slavery, segregation, Jim Crowism. Now you're talking about a period of time where it was almost like a psychological program done to us. I sat at a lecture of Sister Joe Leary. I think it was, no, Joe Leary. Her name was the Sister Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I sat in her lecture of the UMD. And she came up with a profound statement. She says, how do you expect a group of people to go through what they went through, get no type of therapeutic treatment or intervention to recover from that? How do you expect them to act right? Some say psychologically, you deal with certain things, it passes on to your children. Sometimes that automatically is an automatic microchip in your brain that makes it click on when you go to the society. So therefore, when European walks by, you do this. Or you automatically have some type of respect for them. Sometimes it's second nature. When a human being or our people who trail the blazes of science and all those type of things got broke down below the common standards of a human being, you need the divine intervention. This is why that teaching is so profound. Man, know thyself from Allah. It's a profound teaching. Because it's pulling you out of the understanding that you are not a lowly soul as those type of teachings were in the church at the time of slavery. But you are a very, very high human being if you focus on Allah. So, we run down the line of what happened. Lost slavery, lost their history, lost their identity. So like I said, there was a need of divine intervention. to pull us up and raise us up out of a death mind state. So, if it's a divine intervention, and that was sparked by an individual, that individual is properly violated, that makes him divine. Because he filled that shoes. He filled what you call the shoes of prophethood. Let me reference something here. I'm going to come out with a scholar, Jose P. Mental, who I did honestly try to get here to speak with, didn't work out. But inshallah, maybe one day. As he says, and this is Othello's story, page 200. And this is going to be the probably third paragraph, and I'm reading. Not the whole portion, because I'm time for this. Like the historical Moabites, local Jualians, and Miss T of their teachings were all both spiritual and nationalistic. The marbo, and those who don't remember that word that has a very defined, it traces back. Some trace that word back, marbo, to the word Moabite. The Moabite tradition believes in the provincial messages and teachings, and Ali's focus was provincial. As well, and it may even be said that the charismatic Noble Drew Ali had barakah. The word barakah. Okay? The word barakah is pretty much defined as Allah's spiritual essence, teachings, almost like his hand touching, continual touch on humanity. Because sometimes man loses touch with Allah. So he has to continually touch through a chain. So continue to go on. And almost at the end, we'll read from Quran. Actually, more we'll read from the whole Quran Mecca. Islam, still with me? Coming from Surah 10. All right. Surah 10, ayat 47. It says, to every people we sent an apostle. When their apostle comes before them, the matter will be judged between them with justice, and they will not be wrong. And we can say we weren't wrong when Prophet Muhammad came. He pretty much gave us justice. Some say, well, where's the 40 acres and the mule? He gave us the tools to get there. He gave us the vehicle. More divine national move, more scientific America. These vehicles, these tools, to get us through this bucket mind, rise us up and keep us sustained to the point where we can continue to move on. But first we gotta rise up. So, as you can see that Allah's barakah, His touch, His remembrance, came manifested in flesh to Prophet Muhammad. And through that, you can also reference that within our one-on-one questionnaire with the everlasting gospel. Let's go there. Everlasting gospel. Which is key 41. What is the everlasting gospel? It is the saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient forefathers by His prophet. That's barakah. Right there, that key, in a one-on-one, just define barakah.
is to touch how Allah comes through our ancient forefathers, the lessons, the reminders, the principles, all that comes through, and through one man, Prophet Muhammad, who's still in that station to transmit that to us. So I'm going to finish it up, brothers and sisters. Islam with, as I technically open it up with the Holy Quran of Most High America, I will close my speech with the emotional circumstance. Chapter 19, 20 through 30. And this is summing up what he brought us. And I'm only going to read key 23 to 30. And Jesus came and sat with them, and a crown of light was on his head. And when the silence ended, Casper said, "A master from the royal council of the Simon Brotherhood is here. Let us give praise." 25. And all the priests and the master stood and said, "All hail! What messenger from the royal council do you bring?" Or what message do you bring? I'm sorry. And Jesus said, "My brothers of the Simon Brotherhood, peace on earth, goodwill to men." 27. The problem of the age has been solved. The Son of Man has risen from the dead, has shown that human flesh can be transformed into flesh divine. 28. Before the eyes of men, this flesh in which I come to you was changed with the speed of light from human flesh. And so I am the message that I bring to you. To you I come, the first of all the race, to be transmuted to the image of the Lord. 30. What I have done, all men will do, and what I am, all men shall be. That's it. There's no separation at the end of this. This is what he brought us. Saving power. It's here. You don't need to look anywhere else. You look for your Savior, look for yourself. You want to find an enemy, look for yourself. Look at yourself. This is the message. He gave you the self-power and tools to lift yourself up. In this message, he points that Esau or Jesus appeared to everyone as a transmitted light, appeared in this God-body form. Now, symbolically, we break it down to you raising yourself up from out of monkey flesh that you deal with. What's the monkey flesh? Passion and desires, depression, inconsistency, bad experiences that hover over you, rising yourself up and become one with Allah. And as Jesus did it, as the Prophet Muhammad Ali did it, so shall we. All we have to do is get in tune. I thank everyone, and I say peace, Islam, turn the podium. Grand Sheikh, are you ready? Peace and love. Islam, well, thank you for that demonstration. Islam, next up, my lovely industrious wife, Sister MESPHIN will be coming to the podium for demonstration. I sit back and wonder, the sister, all the food, she cooked all the food that we ate tonight. She was in the kitchen yesterday, today. Hard-working woman, she's a blessing to me. How she did it. Praise Allah. Small temple as of right now. 4 people. We made this work. So all praise due to Allah, Sister MESPHIN. Islam. Islam.
crown. But in ancient times, even in slavery, those sisters still wrapped their head in a piece of garment. Why was that significant so much? They stripped them of everything, and they still insist on covering their heads. So that stands out to me when I see documentation with, sisters in general. And Prophet Ali, I was taught and raised in the Baltimore building at 5th and Dolphin, Temple number 11. And, Prophet Ali said, if you think you can save yourself. And that's what happens to me, because in this dunya, the soul wants more after you cultivate it for so long. It doesn't catch up to the spirit. It doesn't balance out. So I was willing to change, and I had that will to search, to seek out, a seeker of truth. So I came to Moorish Science and got the teachings, and I heard a lot about sisterhood, because, coming out of other religious groups, you see sisterhood cultivated, but their self-esteem and higher frequency when you adorn yourself with a wrap and explain the science in the head wrap while we cover ourselves majestically stick out to me. And not only that, knowing that I'm not even black and colored. And geographically, I can connect myself to my ancient forefathers and foremothers. Apart from Christianity teaching, it caught my attention because it was like a perpetual thing going back into Christianity and the teaching, because I take notes a lot. And I realized that they were repeating the same thing, a couple months later. I'm like, okay. But in Moorish Science, every time you go there, something new you learn, something to enhance your level of education, self-worth. So I was like so overwhelmed with just the information. Brought MESPHIN, my husband, he brought me in, and this is who I am today. And I used to adorn my hair with a headdress, because it was like, oh my gosh, how can I wear this turban all day? But then when I learned the science and the mathematical equation into the measurement of the fabric, which equals to 9, it could be different figures. And then when you wrap your head, the pyramid between the eyebrows, the pineal gland. So it's a lot. And then our hair's antennas, we draw in a lot of frequencies when we have our head covered. It keeps a lot of static away from the dunes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really intriguing. And to share this with my sisters is truly amazing. And I'm a living testimony today. I've been in Moorish Science for 6 to 7 years. That anybody who sees me, there's so much information filtering that you have to share among people. And they always look at you as someone trustworthy, someone of dignity, of moral standard, someone who they could confide in. And they'll come and speak certain things in confidence, and I'll be like, wow, before that needs to happen. And now it's happening. So that tells me I'm on the right path. And it also makes me a better person, a better woman, a better citizen. That, people look up as a sister in the community. That I can relate to them. Even if I am in a different sector of religious group, I can still relate to them, because geographically history is history, true history. It doesn't change or pass away. So I thank Prophet Ali for coming and saving me, all of this murky ethers, from being drowning. I would say drowning. I'm reborn. And I want to say, I will never change it for the world. Never change it for the world. I have no regrets. To save our family. The children, they get connected through different teaching in school, in the school system, and they even share with their friends. So it's a phenomenal event today that is occurring. And I see, where sisters are disconnected. I'm stressing on the sisters because on the question of Prophet Ali, he had the sister up. He didn't have the brothers up. He had one sister up in humanity, the collective souls. Because if we don't take care of our health, we don't take care of our mind, we don't take care of our thought pattern, when we birth in this spirit into the world, what are we birthing? A lot of chaos, a lot of, discord. And there's some sisters who are doing the right thing. They know the science, they're being meditative and preparing that soil for the seed to be planted. And I praise, Noble Ali for everything he has So you say Islam, you meet sisters, and then they disperse and no connection. What binds our hearts is love and unity, and if you don't connect, we could be busy to do it, but just pick up the phone or telepathically send them a message. We will connect because we have that frequency of connection as sisters, mothers, daughters of humanity. So I want to praise God for this day. And through my experience as being a sister in the dunya, I realized that there are some deadly sins which is cultivated in the mind of our sisters. Because we are the one who is in our laboratory cooking the food every day, teaching our children every day. And they grow up to be adults. They grow up to be young men, young sisters. So we have to be careful in what we're thinking, what we're putting into the food when we cook, what we say in our mouths, because I hear sisters bashing their children, and I have to say something. I cannot stand still and hear that happening, because I know the spell that is being placed upon us every time we use negative connotation words. And that's why we in the state we are today, because we fell, because we gratified ourselves in words, and deeds. So if we know that, and the junior will know that, we have to always stand firm in what is right. A prophet of the drum is saying, looking for strong men and women, not in physicalness. It deals with that mindset of what you know, what you stand for, and never shake it, never go back on it. So the seven deadly sins, I would say, that is hindering us from connecting is betrayal, jealousy, judgment, envy, gossip, competition, and resentment. If each one of us write the story of why we have something connected on each and every one of us, we have something to share that is similarity, that no one is different from the other. Every sister connects to each other. So we have to watch these words in our mind, how we manifest them. As Prophet Ali in Circle 7, he tells us how to be strong men and strong women. And we hold their family, the community value, knows and understands. The woman knows and understands the family history and the history of her true self. Who are you? Everybody has tribal nations, but we are Moorish American. So we have to study our history. Strive to maintain our mission as guardian of our community value, transcend male-oriented and Eurocentric values in the tracks of the New World Order. We have to study that. We have to know that the money we use is not real money, it's fiat currency. We have to know that the soil we planting our food on is not totally nourished, it's depleted, and what we have to do to cultivate good soil, even in the womb. I am an agriculturist and I love planting and growing stuff. And every time, I plant that seed, it reminds me of that seed you planted that is in the mind. So you have to be careful of what you eat and what you know the New World Order is about. Carries herself with integrity, humility, discipline, compassion, and spiritual love. Strives for maximum development of whatever talent, potential, and capability she has in the interest of self-group and communal advancement. Support and facilitates personal achievement in others, accept the challenge of personal courage, accept responsibility for her own mistakes, and forgives others for theirs. Trust, respect, and cherish the elders and her own feminine values and wisdom. Develop her spirituality and recognize her spiritual self to connect to Allah. Prepares herself to bring forth children who will be the carers of the generation of truth and achieve cultural sovereignty. Recognizes the importance of her sisters in her life. Not forgetting the brothers, we do cherish you all dearly. View the children as a precious and irreplaceable gift they are, according to their right, discipline, love, support, nurturing, guidance, protection, and encouragement for their full and complete development. She also seeks to become a helpmate to the Moorish American man in general, and also to be an advisor, a counsel to his bosom. Accept the continuous heal, cure, love herself and her people. Exhibits and models the essence of the feminine nature, showing unconditional love for her family, sisters, and people. And that's what I get from Prophet Nubudrali when he speaks about his sister. Say that turban we wear is a crown circling our head. We speak with low tones, not high, and not go abroad in other people's houses. He said, remember the relation that bonded you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own heart. So that is telling us that family is important. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thought. Like I mentioned earlier about the garden, planting the seeds. If I can get you to think, you can say it yourself. So the garden of seed that I planted with my words, some of these seeds are, let's plant 3 rows of peas. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of soul. How about squash? Squash gossip, squash indifference, squash grumbling, squash selfishness. And some lettuce. Let us be peaceful, let us be kind, let us be patient. Let us really love one another. Turnips. Turn up for meeting, turn up for service. Turn up to help one another who are in need. And time, lastly, time for each other, family, and friends. So with that I said, praise the Lord for giving me this opportunity to speak. And I want to thank every one of you who made it out here today. And may we always unite, not just for this day, but, connect, share information. Business-wise, we do commerce also. Who have business, who want to connect and share their cards, it's great. The sisters got to work and keep that resources in the community. Islam.
Islam, thank you, sister. Now we will have Sister A. MESPHIN L, Sister Amira MESPHIN L. Please come to the podium. Islam.
First, I rise and give all praises to Allah, and most powerful family. The Prophet of Joe was born on January 8, 1886 in the state of California. And I think Prophet of Joe helped us find our nationality because slavery kind of took our nationality away from us and everything else we had because we didn't, like in slavery pictures and movies and stuff, like 12 Years a Slave, they show slave people having almost no clothes and not a lot of food and stuff, and living in tiny shacks. Before slavery, before the Europeans came to we used to have big castles and stuff, and we used to have pretty garments and clothes, and we had a lot of food to eat. And so Prophet Jolie gave us our nationality, and he taught us to be ourselves because most of us, and some of us still today, some of us still want to be like Europeans because we want to have their straight hair because sometimes our hair doesn't like to come, and we want to have straight noses, and we want to have their eyes and their skin color. But Prophet Jolie taught us to be ourselves and to like ourselves and not want to be somebody else. And not all of the time we just learn to be Europeans, but sometimes like we would have a friend or a family member who we think is better than us, but they're not really because everybody's unique and different. So Prophet Jolie also taught that everyone deserves love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Like the 5-pointed star on our flag is red. And we fly that flag in our meetings along with the American flag every Friday because Friday was a day on which man was formed in flesh and
Islam, Lord. Praise Allah. Demonstrations. Wars in Temple number 2 are growing. We recently chartered Temple here in South Philadelphia. We've been chartered in a few months, and we're growing. We're about to move to a public location. We're currently having meetings with my residents over on 18th Street. But yeah, we're soon to move into a public location. So we're moving, we're more as we love the prophet, we love what the prophet has done for our people, and we're striving to walk in that law that the prophet gave to our people. So I would like to pose a couple of questions. What is a prophet? So what is a prophet? We hear the word prophet. What is a prophet? What was the political climate in 1865? We know 1865 was what we call the Emancipation Proclamation. President Lincoln freed Asiatics who were in bondage, physically freed our people. We know they were still mentally enslaved. What was the political climate in 1865? What is the significance of Prophet which draw these words? Works and deeds that we are here today honoring. And what is the Moorish Science Temple of America's purpose and objective? I will attempt to explain all these in the following demonstration. Before I do, I'd like to first rise and give my perfect praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the creator of you, the creator of me. I'd like to give high honors to our noble, illustrious prophet, who was prepared in due time by the great God Allah, and was sent amongst our people to teach our people the principles of nationality and our divine creed, the high civilization principles that our ancient ancestors and the governments of our ancient ancestors lived by, conduct control principles, and built the greatest civilizations known to man. I'd like to give honor to Marcus Mosiah Garvey, purity made manifest. I'd like to give honor to the current Supreme Grand Sheik, Brother D. Billy L. I'd like to give honor to the Supreme Grand Council. I'd like to give honor to the Grand Body. I'd like to give honor to the Circle 7. And I'd like to give honor to our friends and family, our noble officials from Baltimore, Maryland, the Grand Governor, he was L, Turner L, the Assistant Grand Chief Islam, and Eddington L, Grand Sheik Eddington L, Baltimore, Maryland, Temple number 13. I praise Allah for you more coming up from Baltimore to share this celebration. Islam. I'd like to give honors to my brother here, Brother Chris Jackson, being his consort. Islam, for coming out. Sister Hanifa, Islam sister. And all the boards, family and friends. Temple number 2, we worked hard to produce this, and may Allah continue to guide us and protect us on this journey. So what is a prophet? Prophet is a thought of Allah, manifested in the flesh. In the word prophet, we have the word pro, which means before. Okay, the word prophet comes from the Greek word prophemi, and is derived from the Greek word, the fet is femi, which means to say, to show, or make known one's thoughts, to speak or say. So a prophet is literally Allah's thought. Why we do not idol worship? Many of the idol worshiping religions of the world, many of the prophets have come to put our people back on that straight path. Sirat al-Mustaqim, as they say. That straight and narrow path. Where we understand that the knowledge of your Creator comes from first knowledge of yourself. Furthermore, we know that man is not born in sin, as some religions say. But that the human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. Our children, they are born in a state of innocence. It is upon each one of us as parents whether our children be a blessing or a curse to us, a useful or a worthless member of the community. In the Moorish Science Temple of America, we honor, promote, and practice the true teachings of all the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. We are taught that the duty of prophets is to save nations from the wrath of Allah, and that prophets are raised up from amongst their own people. Allah knew the condition of His children, the Asiatics here in America. He knew our needs, our tailored needs. He understood that our national identity was short. We went through an institution that tampered with our soul, our reasoning, our willing, our thinking. Prophet Noble consistently warned our people to refrain from sin and disobedience, to turn to their Creator, to turn back from destruction and embrace the conduct-controlling principles of our ancient forefathers and foremothers. In all walks of life, in our government and politics, our social duties, our economics, our morality, and our spirituality. In the Holy Quran of Mecca, Surah 49 and 13, it states, and we see the importance and divine mandate of nations and national identity. Surah 49 and 13. Surah 49 and 13. O mankind, indeed, we created you from a male and a female. We made you nations and tribes. You may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you, near Allah, is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is known, is all known, all aware. The United States of America Republic was created by free national beings bearing free national names. The Asiatics of America were stripped of national identity, and slave tags were placed on our people, putting us outside the fold of constitutional law and its protections. In the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, it tells us in chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire, the dominion of Africa. Instruction 15. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and straight after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. We see the great leaders of our communities asking, having meetings, all of the time. What is the condition of the black man here, the black woman, the black family here in America? And our prophet, Allah, and Allah's wisdom and love, sent us a prophet to give us the answer to this question. Here in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It was Prophet Jesus who was sent to save the Israelites from the pale-skinned nations of Europe who were governing a portion of Palestine about 2,000 years ago. It was Prophet Buddha who was born in Nepal, brought Buddhism to India and to the world. It was Prophet Muhammad who was born in Arabia amongst an idol-worshipping people. So thus it was Allah's American-born prophet who was prepared in due season. One noble Jew Ali, who proclaimed in our law, it is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The golden underlying thread that connects all of the prophets is the message of truth. This is why we can study the teachings of the prophets and see the law of relativity at work. For they all brought what we call the holy breath, the truth. Allah, in wisdom, will, and love, sent a mercy and a blessing to the Moors of America, a Moorish American prophet. What was the political climate in 1865? Emancipation Proclamation, condition, physically free but mentally enslaved Asiatics. Let us delve into this. This was during the time of what we call the Reconstruction period. And it was well underway in 1865. New laws redefined citizenship, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution of the United States of America. Permanently altered the federal system and the definition of citizenship. Prophet Noble Ali has taught us that it is your free national name. It is through your free national name you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth, by said national government in which you live. The 14th and 15th Amendments merely brought the North and the South in unity, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. It was at the First Continental Congress here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Carpenter's Hall, where meetings were first held to conspire against the newly freed Asiatics, to come up with a system that kept Asiatics on the level of the beasts of the field, stripped of nationality and creed, and dead in the science of civic activity. This system consisted of placing European family names, which was the system that stemmed from slavery, onto the Asiatics in bondage. But then, and once they were free, they would keep those European family names. But then also labeling them outside of themselves. Black, Negro, Colored, West Indian, Indian, etc. And today, the politically almost correct appellation, African American. For Africa is a continent, not a nation. The Freedmen's Bureau. The 1800s, the Freedmen's Bureau was the United States federal government agency that aided distressed freedmen, physically freed slaves, during the Reconstruction era of the United States. The Freedmen's Bureau Bill, which established the Freedmen's Bureau, on March 3, 1865, was initiated by President Abraham Lincoln and was intended to last for 1 year after the end of the Civil War. The Freedmen's Bureau was an important agency of the early Reconstruction, assisting physically freedmen in the South. The Bureau was part of the United States Department of War. And the Bureau, this particular Bureau helped solve everyday problems with newly freed slaves, such as clothing, food, water, health care, communication with family members, and jobs. It was reported that the freedmen